everybody, and welcome to another ASMR video here on the channel. Today, as you can evidently tell because you do possess eyes, I assume, we're back with another true crime video. I think in the last one I said I was going to sort of return to focusing on just one story, but I think somebody commented requesting this theme, and then I found a couple of really good articles and stories that I really just wanted to do. So I swear for the next true crime we'll revert back to a smaller number of crimes, but look at them in a bit more detail, and maybe we'll go back to the more gritty crimes like murders, because obviously ASMR and murder go really well together, of course. But today the focus of the video is heists, and more importantly, some of the craziest, most unique, strange, but also just audacious, I guess you could say, heists that have occurred in history. So we're going to take a slow, whispered look at some of them. As always, any requests for true crime topics or just videos in general, always feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I always repeat this, but I have a big spreadsheet filled with ideas, and a lot of them are from you guys, and I will get around to doing all of them. It's my mission, but it might take some few years, so subscribe to tag along. But I think that's enough of an introduction. Let's get into the true crime. So we begin with 17 of the most unusual heists in history. Number 1, the Nutella and Kinder chocolate egg heist in 2017. In August 2017, thieves in the town of Neustadt, Germany, stole a refrigerated truck filled with up to 20 tons of Nutella and Kinder chocolate eggs. The sugary haul had an estimated worth of around $80,000, leading law enforcement in Germany to warn citizens with some sage advice you should probably always follow. Anyone offered large quantities of chocolate via unconventional channels should report it to the police immediately. Mysteriously, a separate trailer filled with 30 tons of fruit juice was stolen that same weekend in the town of Wittenberg, around 260 miles northeast of the missing hazelnut spread. Number 2, the Clay County Savings Association robbery in 1866, so going back in time just a little bit. Jesse James is one of the most notorious criminals in American history, and though he was never officially linked to the crime, it's believed that James, or at least members of his gang, perpetrated what's believed to be the country's first ever documented peacetime daylight bank robbery on February 13th, 1866. The Clay County Savings Association in Liberty, Missouri. That day, a group of 10 to 13 men dressed as union officials held the bank up for $60,000 in bonds, cash and gold. The illicit operation had all the trappings of an old-timey stick-up, complete with petrified tellers and wheat sacks full of money. If James was involved, it would have been the first of an estimated 19 robberies he took part in. Number 3, the Adair, Iowa train robbery in 1873. In the years after the Civil War, the US's expanding train system brought heists to the rails, and James again was an early adopter staging one of his most infamous train robberies on July 21st, 1873, outside of Adair, Iowa. Though the robbery made headlines and added to the famed criminal's mystique, the actual haul was far less than the crew had hoped. The $75,000 worth of gold bullion they were after wound up on another train, forcing the gang to settle for just $2,000 in a safe and $1,000 from the passengers themselves. The Manhattan Savings Institution heist in 1878. There was another criminal out there who was even more prolific than James, but chances are you've never heard of him. His name was George Leslie, an architect turned criminal. Police estimated his gang was responsible for 80% of the bank robberies in the US from 1869 to 1878. His jobs included a $786,000 heist from Ocean National Bank in 1869 and a $1.6 million haul from Northampton Bank in Massachusetts in 1876. Those would pale in comparison to the famous robbery of the Manhattan Savings Institution in October 1878. This was a crime that Leslie planned for more than 3 years, meticulously studying the building and drawing his own blueprints to ensure a foolproof plan. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be around to pull it off. Though never confirmed, it's believed Leslie was killed before the robbery by one of his own men, Tom Draper, after the man discovered Leslie was having an affair with his wife. Even with the brains of the operation dead, the crime went off without a hitch, and the robbers made off with around $2.7 million, a record at the time. Travelling forward a bit to 1972 for the Pierre Hotel Heist. Banks and trains are typical heist targets, but hotels can be just as attractive for thieves. On January the 2nd, 1972, a team including professional crooks Bobby Comfort and Sammy Narlow, disguised with fake beards and glasses, took the staff of the Pierre Hotel in Manhattan hostage and rifled through the building's safe deposit boxes, making off with around $3 million worth of stolen jewellery and cash. It wasn't all bad news for the hotel workers though. As the thieves departed, they gave each of the hostages $20. Oh, that's kind. Very, very generous of them. Well, this is going back some time now. The Last Judgment heist in 1473. Outlaws and mobsters may get the celebrity treatment in America, but heists have been going down all over the globe for centuries. In 1473, the first known art heist occurred when pirates seized Hans Memling's The Last Judgment as it was travelling from Belgium to Florence. Today, the triptych still resides in Gdansk in Poland. We now have the Great Gold Robbery of 1855. My stomach just rumbled. Lovely. One of the biggest heists in European history came in May 1855, when thieves made off with £200 of gold that was headed for Paris. Based on gold's value at the time, but adjusting the dollar amount for inflation, was arrested for an unrelated crime. A car told a woman named Fanny Kay that she and her child would be well taken care of. But then, it seems, one of the co-conspirators from the robbery took the money for himself. Kay and a car went on to inform authorities what had happened. The Baker Street robbery in 1971. European heists only got more brazen in the 20th century, and one of the most fascinating has to be the Baker Street robbery, which occurred in September 1971. A four-man gang lifted 268 safety deposit boxes at Lloyds Bank in London, worth around $9 million today. You don't get a haul like this by walking through the bank's front door. This robbery was the result of an inside job. In the weeks leading up to the crime, the gang rented a leather shop located 2 doors down from the bank. Then, over the course of 3 weekends, they tunnelled from the store to the underbelly of the bank vault and blew their way through the door. Numerous conspiracy theories continue to muddy the details of this heist, including one that claims the thieves were actually hired by the UK's MI5 to retrieve scandalous photos of Princess Margaret that were hidden in one of the safe deposit boxes. We now come back into this century, the Harry Winston jewellery store robbery in 2008. France is no stranger to the occasional ostentatious crime either. In December 2008, a group of gunmen raided the Harry Winston jewellery store in Paris, making off with $90 million worth of jewels. The men pulled off the entire heist while decked out in women's wigs and high heels, with one of them waving around the ultimate fashion accessory statement piece, a hand grenade. In 2011, $20 million worth of jewels were found in a drain in a Paris suburb, and in 2015, 8 men involved in this theft and an earlier Harry Winston robbery were convicted. Number 10 is the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company heist, which occurred in April 2015. London was again the site of a heist for the history books. This time the target was the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company, where an estimated $13.7 million, or around $21 million, I know £13.7 million, sorry, $21 million, in cash and jewels was looted, making it the largest burglary in English legal history, according to the court. But this was no group of young savvy crooks. Most of the men were career criminals, well into their 60s and 70s. The ringleader was then 76-year-old Brian Reeder, who, while it was never proven, was heavily rumoured to be part of the aforementioned Baker Street robbery. The Strangnas Cathedral heist in 2018. In 2018, thieves in Sweden smashed the displays of royal jewels at Strangnas Cathedral, west of Stockholm, in broad daylight. They got away with 2 crowns and a golden orb that date back to Swedish monarchs Karl Ajax, I'm rubbish with Roman numerals, and Queen Christina from the 17th century. With their loot in hand, the crew made their way to a waiting speedboat and escaped. Luckily, this case had a happy ending. In February 2019, the jewels, valued at more than $7 million, were recovered on top of a garbage can outside of Stockholm. The theft of an entire church in 2008. Heists villagers from Komarovo in Russia stole a whole church. It was abandoned at the time, so the villagers decided to take part in a unique side hustle by selling the house of worship to a businessman to the tune of 1 ruble per brick. It doesn't appear the plan involved rebuilding the entire church in a new location, although that would make a more fun story. Instead, it seems likely that the bricks were to be reused for other building projects. The Wisconsin cheese heists in 2016. Stealing an entire church is the highest form of blasphemy for some. For others, this next crime is nothing short of sacrilege. In 2016, Wisconsin was hit with 3 high-profile cheese heists, ranging from $46,000 to $90,000 worth of stolen fromage. The $90,000 haul was composed entirely of Parmesan, for the record. No matter how you slice it, that's a whole lot of cheddar. Cringe. The Black Travelized in 2019. Selling food on the black market doesn't stop at back alley cheese, no. One of the most decadent targets for culinary-minded criminals is truffles. In 2005, $100,000 worth of black truffles was stolen from a warehouse in Provence, France, in the dead of night. It was a sophisticated operation, and not just because their target was an ingredient that can be found in Michelin-star restaurants. The crooks travelled by rooftop, using rope ladders and night vision goggles to slink into the warehouse and access the refrigerated where the truffles were kept. Interesting. The Philadelphia Insectarium and Butterfly Pavilion Heist in 2018. Food thieves are definitely thinking outside the box, but there was an even more audacious theft in August 2018. This one involved more than $40,000 worth of insects and lizards that were taken from the Philadelphia Insectarium and Butterfly Pavilion. It's estimated that 7,000 animals were taken in the robbery, including 40 close-spot roaches, tarantulas, and leopard geckos, all of which were likely headed to the resale market. When police arrived at the scene, electric blue staff uniforms were found hanging from a wall, held in place by knives. This rather strange piece of evidence signalled to police that the theft may have been an inside job. The Beehive Heist, 2017. Bees can command quite a bit of criminal attention too. In January 2017, hundreds of hives were stolen from a beekeeper just north of Sacramento, California. This is an area flush with almond trees which need to be pollinated, and anyone with a bunch of bees can charge top dollar for that service. Eventually, this case led police to a suspect named Pavel Teveretinov, who was in possession of 2,500 allegedly stolen hives taken from throughout the area, worth an estimated $875,000. And the final weird heist on this list is the Great Beanie Baby Heist, 1997. Then there was the Great Beanie Baby Heist of the 90s. Beanie Baby, Beanie Baby, Beanie Baby. Well, one of the Great Beanie Baby Heists anyway. The colourful stuffed animals were the subject of countless robberies over the years, as people began believing rumours that they could pay off their student loans 67 beanies that were never thought to be part of a lot of 60,000 that went missing from manufacturer Dye's warehouse. The haul was estimated at $300,000, but when Perry went to court, he was found not guilty. There was no proof that he knowingly possessed stolen property, and for his part, he claimed he bought them all at a flea market. And to finish this video off, we're going to take a little look at some more massively audacious, crazy heists that have occurred. Beginning with Belgium's diamond heist of the century. The Antwerp World Diamond Centre robbery is one of the most elaborate heists in history. A break-in at a vault 2 floors underground, protected by no fewer than 10 layers of security. Leonardo Bartolo disguised himself as a diamond merchant and moved into an apartment next to the centre in 2000. 3 years later, Bartolo's crew stole diamonds and gold worth $100 million without triggering any of the 63 security cameras. Bartolo was eventually linked to the crime by roadside trash and DNA found on a sandwich. He was sentenced, aged 51, to 10 years in prison. Many of the jewels were never found. The Dunbar robbery seemed like the perfect crime. The gang had blueprints, inside information, and even a key. One evening in 1997, 6 men attended a party in Long Beach, California. With their alibis established, the men slipped into black clothing and masks. Their rented van headed to the LA Dunbar Armoured Truck Depot. They opened the depot side door with a key and ambushed night shift guards as they dropped by the cafeteria on breaks. The men timed the security cameras to avoid detection and loaded the van with $19 million in cash. The thieves laundered the money through property deals but were eventually thwarted by a schoolboy error. One of the men handed a real estate agent a wad of cash wrapped with a Dunbar seal. Alan Bates, an ex-Dunbar guard, was sentenced to 24 years in prison. About $10 million is still missing. The robbery of the Millennium, this one is titled. London celebrated the turn of the century with fireworks and a diamond display at its new Millennium Dome exhibition centre on the Thames River. The centrepiece was the Millennium Star, a stunning 203-carat diamond. It was not altogether surprising then when a gang plotted a smash and grab. The plan was to crash into the dome with a bulldozer, take a sledgehammer to cases filled with jewels, and escape by speedboat, all in broad daylight. Scotland Yard was tipped off but didn't know when, so 200 officers posed as staff and cleaners with their guns hidden in garbage bags. Dozens more lingered around the river. When the bulldozer finally crashed into the dome, police arrested most of the gang on the spot. 2 were nabbed on the river and several more at a safe house. The media, who'd berated the dome for being nothing more than a government-built white elephant, admitted the centre had finally lived up to its self-styled billing, providing one amazing day. And we'll end with one more. Let's pick. Do we go with an this one, Cyber Heists, a bit of a different one to the ones we've spoken about so far. The eye-watering numbers linked to cybercrime make some of the old-fashioned capers seem tame in comparison. A US federal indictment unsealed in early 2021 charges 3 North Korean computer programmers with conspiracy to steal and extort more than 1.3 billion in cash and cryptocurrency from financial institutions. A staggering amount, but certainly not the first mega cybercrime allegation. Hackers pretending to be from Bangladesh's central bank tried to steal $1 billion from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in 2016. And they actually did transfer $81 million, but the thieves made a costly spelling mistake that aroused suspicion. And that was a whispered, hopefully relaxing look at some of the crazy, most iconic and just mental heists that have happened throughout history. Hopefully you found this video enjoyable. Hopefully you enjoyed this video.